What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with the review for Abbott Elementary Season 2, Episode 3. The episode was titled Story Samurai, you guys. This episode was hilarious, you guys. I enjoyed it. So before we go ahead and get into this episode, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed, why do we keep doing this every week? Why do we go out on this date and you guys have me pay for it at the end of it? Hit me that favor by hitting that thumbs up button, you guys. Please thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, you guys, and also share the video. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let us go ahead and discuss Abbott Elementary, shall we? All right, you guys. So Abbott Elementary, let's talk about it. So we see Janine. So Janine is in the office and she's going through the lost and found. So Gregory comes into the office and says like, yo, Janine, what are you looking for? She was like, she's looking for this shawl. And Gregory was looking like maybe somebody took it. And he looked up and there was Ava. And Ava was like, you think I'm going to take something that Janine had? I was like, oh my God, Ava. Why do we have to do this to Janine? Yes, Janine's style is quirky. There are some things that Janine does wear that I do like. Some things that Janine wears, I'm like, ooh, Janine, no. But come to find out that Mr. Johnson has Janine's shawl and he's using Janine's shawl to wipe. He's using it like with this, you know, like Windex and all that kind of Windex 409, all that kind of stuff. That's what he was using it for. I was like, oh, Mr. Johnson, you are not using Janine's shawl to clean it. And actually, when I saw the shawl, I was like, that's a nice, very nice shawl. So then we move over to the teacher's lounge, right? So we see everybody's in there. Gregory comes in, you know, he's talking to them. So we see Janine, we see Barbara, Melissa, Jacob. They're all talking about their lesson plans, right? So Janine is talking about how it's too early for her to be showing a movie to her students, but she's, you know, her lesson plan. Barbara says, well, she's doing Lego Day. And then Melissa is talking about how, you know, basically her having her double classes is kicking her ass. So Ava comes in there and tells them about the Story Samurai that's going to be coming. So the Story Samurai is kind of like, it sounds like it's an improv thing where you will tell them, you will give them like an action or something, like say you're a homeless person, but you're working at the fair or something like that, right? You give them some kind of you will give them something and they will act it out. Come to find out, Jacob was a part of the Story Samurai and he was just really giddy and happy about it. I was like, ooh, this is something that this is something that Jacob was a part of. I don't know about that one, but we're gonna see how this plays out, you guys. Jacob and the Story Samurai. If it's anything like Jacob, it's not gonna be good. But let's pause here, you guys, and let's move forward. So you guys remember, Melissa has the third graders and the second graders that she's teaching, right? So Melissa is walking through the hallway with her students and Ava comes up and tells her like, hey, Melissa, I told you, if you need a teacher's assistant, we can get you one. The board is, you know, giving you that. And Barbara chimes in and says, oh no, us veteran teachers, we don't need that. She got this. Give it to one of them give it to one of them younger teachers, right? And I got Barbara's sentiment, but at the same time, here's my thing when it comes down to that. If this is something that the school board is offering to Melissa, girl, take it. It might not be a big win, but it's something. The school board says we realize that you may be overworked with having to deal with a second grade class and a third grade class that has been combined. I don't know how the school board expected for her to literally do that because those are two different lesson plans. Because in the second grade, like I remember when I was in second grade, that was when we were learning. Now I know in school these days the kids don't learn about cursive, but we started, so in first grade I started cursive, but then we gradually got into cursive in the second grade. I remember my cursive book like it was yesterday. See, and with me with cursive, so here's my thing, because I still do write cursive sometimes. I don't like the letters that they have in cursive. Like I don't like, because my name is Gerald. I don't like the G. I hate the G. So I put a spin on the cursive letters. But I remember in second grade, we learned cursive, we were learning how to tell time and things like that. So that's different. But in the third grade, you're, this once again goes to what I said in last week's review about so here in Texas, you don't start taking the standardized test until you get to the third grade. So when I got to the third grade, that's when they started teaching towards the test. So they would still stick with, like, social studies and things like that, but they would focus more heavily on those standardized tests that we had to take back here that we had to take. So I understood where she was coming from, right? But like I said, at the same time, the help is being offered to you. Take the help. Just literally take the help. So next up, let's see where we at, you guys. Where we at? So yeah, Ava told her, "Well, don't say I didn't try to help you." She said, "Even a broken clock is right once a day." Me and Melissa both said it's right twice a day. But you guys, it's Ava that we're talking about, so let's just take a small win. So you guys, we see the story samurai, and just as expected, they are corny, and the kids are making fun of them. And it's so corny that even Janine said that this is too corny for her. I was like, wow, something is too corny for Janine. Okay, something is way too corny for Janine. So we find out after the presentation from the Story Samurai that Ava bootlegged it so that she could sell it at the barbershop. I was like, only Ava would bootleg the Story Samurai. I'm like, Ava, who's gonna want to purchase that? I don't know what Ava's gonna do what kind of magic she's gonna sprinkle over that. So good luck with that one, right? So Jacob tells them that he was asked by the Story Samurai to join him for the afternoon show. I was like, ooh. Well, it's on par for Jacob, and I wouldn't be surprised. Oh God, we know how Jacob is when it comes to black stories, because these are black kids, and if they give him something black, y'all know Jacob is gonna go overboard with it. But let's pause here and let's move forward, you guys. All right, you guys. So after Jacob told Janine that he was asked to join the Story Samurai for the evening show, Janine is looking out for Jacob because Ava and everybody is just laughing, right? Because they know that this is going to be embarrassing for Jacob and that they can make fun of him, basically, right? Because Ava, she wants to use Janine's phone so that she can go live on both Instagram and, what did she say? It was Instagram Live, and I know she said, I think she said TikTok. So they're doing this as no one is laughing with Jacob, everyone is laughing at Jacob. And I actually really did, when Ava said that, I was like, damn. Like, you really did feel bad for Jacob because you know that he's the brunt of the joke. And I'm like, nobody wants to be the brunt of a joke. So I really, in that particular moment, felt bad for Jacob. I wish Janine would have been honest with Jacob and just told him, like, hey, Ava and everybody, they're using this as basically a laughing opportunity at you. But Janine told Jacob, like, you might overshadow them. You don't want to do that, do you? And he was like, you know what? You're right. I don't want to do that. And I was like, oh, Janine, you should have just told him the truth. So then we see Melissa. So Melissa is in class and she's teaching. And Melissa is having a really difficult time, right? Because she's having to teach to not only some second graders, but she's also having to teach to third graders, right? So she's trying to teach the second graders about how to read a clock. Then one of the third graders that was previously in her second grade class, they were like, I can help him. She's like, no, you do your work. And I know that had to be difficult. That has to be difficult to try to be teaching two different lesson plans to. So you have some third graders who were previously second graders, and they feel like they can, and it's so sweet that the kids feel like they can help her out, but that's not their job to help her out. Their job is to learn what she's teaching them, and I just really felt bad for her. Then come to find out, some of the second graders were over with the third graders, and some of the third graders were over with the second graders. She said, go to your right classes. And I just really, like I said, I really, truly 100% felt bad for Melissa in that particular moment. So then we see Gregory, and Gregory went over to Janine's room, and he's like having small talk with Janine. I'm like, if y'all don't say that y'all like each other. He asked her how her day was. She asked him how his day was. He told her, his day was pretty good. She says her day was good. She taught the twos timetables, and she was able to talk Jacob out of performing. So Ava got pissed. Ava was walking by. She's like, Janine just sucks the fun out of everything. Like last week when I told her to, when we went to McDonald's, and she wanted to pretend to be my daughter so that I could get a Happy Meal. I was like, Ava, what? You wanted Janine to pretend to be your daughter so that you can get a Happy Meal? Girl, just buy the Happy Meal and say it's for me. Only Ava. But you got to love Ava. Like, at the end, you really got to love Ava, because the one thing that I will say that Ava and I have in common is the fact that we say what we mean and feel, and sometimes it might come off as harsh or whatnot, but deep down inside we're very caring people. Because Ava, you can see that Ava is a caring person. She's just, when it comes to this job, she's just nonchalant about it. She doesn't care about this job. All Ava cares about is getting her check. And that's how it is. And that's how it shouldn't be that way when it comes to teaching or being a principal. You should be there for the kids, but we know Ava is not. I won't say that Ava's not, because Ava, like I said, Ava showed up in last week's episode. So Ava is there for those kids, but Ava also was mostly there. It's Ava first, and then it's those kids kind of like a little bit under Ava. So Jacob was talking to the Story Samurai, right? So he's telling them that he's not going to be performing with them. So then one of Jacob's students comes in. He said, "Hey, Mrs. C, what's up, Mrs. C?" So Jacob, he high-fived Jacob or shook his hand or whatever, right? So one of the Story Samurai came and tried to shake his hand. He's like, "Nah, you good, bro." So the kids, you can really tell that the kids do give Jacob a hard time, but at the end of the day, they do genuinely like Jacob and they do love Jacob. They just give him a hard time because of it being Jacob. So Ava gets on the intercom and says that Jacob is going to be performing with the Story Samurai. Janine is looking like, what the hell? I just literally talked him out of performing with the Story Samurai. And here comes Ava. But you guys, let's pause here and let's go ahead and move forward. So you guys, next up, we see Janine once again, and she's talking to Jacob. So this time, instead of her hyping him up, saying he would be better than the Story Samurai, she's actually telling Jacob the truth that ultimately all Ava wants to do is humiliate you. So, and you can look, and when you saw Jacob's face go down, that's when I really felt bad for Jacob. I was like, ah, he really wants to perform with the Story Samurai, but he doesn't want to be humiliated at the same time. So then he told Ava he ain't doing it. And once again, Ava is still pissed, right? So Ava said, Janine, you ruined everything because Pop-Tarts was going to sponsor this stream. I was like, see? Like I said, you get good parts of Ava, but you also get some bad sides of Ava as well. So we see Barbara. So Barbara went to go check on Melissa. And she basically told Melissa, when I told Ava earlier that you got it, she said, you know what, maybe I was wrong. And she said what I just said earlier in the review, that it might not be a lot, but it is something that the board is giving you. So if the board is giving you a teaching assistant, take the help. So Melissa's like, you know what, let's go ahead and do it, right? So then we see Janine, she's talking to Gregory, and she told Gregory that she told Jacob the truth about, why Ava particularly, why people want him to perform with the Story Samurai, because it's corny, people are going to laugh at him, he's going to be a laughing stock, right? And so Gregory's like, but he does that on a daily basis. So why are we stopping him from being himself? And I love the fact that I love that Gregory broke it down in that particular way. Like, that's who he is. He is quirky. He's corny. We laugh at him. We laugh with him. But why are we going to try to change who Jacob is? And Janine had to think about that. Janine had to literally sit there and think about that, because that is who Jacob is, right? So then we move over to the Story Samurai, and they're performing. And the young man that was talking to Jacob earlier, He said, "Hey, Mrs. C, I thought you were going to perform with them." And Jacob said, "Yeah, no." And then we see the little boy, he's talking to the camera, and that's when he was saying, I genuinely like Mr. C, right? We call him Mrs. C because of something, but we like him. And they were actually looking forward to seeing him perform. And I was like, despite Ava with her ulterior motives, despite Ava, I think that when it comes down to the kids, and even when it comes down to this with Barbara, Melissa, and all of them, it's like what Gregory said. This is who Jacob is. We accept Jacob for who he is. So what's wrong with that? And the kids obviously love it. The kids may call him Mr. C. I'm assuming Mr. C means Mr. Corny. They call him those names, but like I said earlier in the review, deep down, you can tell that those kids have a special connection with Jacob. And I love that. They have a special connection with Jacob because Jacob is authentically himself. To other people who would see Jacob, they'd be like, ugh, you a corny ass little boy, a corny ass white boy, right? And a corny ass white boy who sometimes take on the black plight. And I just like, ooh, Jacob. And he did that in this scene. He did that with the Story Samurai because Janine said, you know what, Mr. C, get up there and perform. So Jacob got up there, and like I said, they asked for something, right? So Jacob is using, and I think he was using Tony the Tiger. I could be wrong, but he was using a cereal mascot to show racial discrimination. I was like, oh my God. It was cringy. I was like, ooh. But it's Jacob, and we love Jacob. So then at the end of the episode, you guys, we see Melissa. So Melissa got her TA. So her TA's name is Ashley. And when Ashley came into that office and she was singing, I was like, oh my God. I didn't think it was possible. Ashley is going to be a mixture of Janine and Jacob. Oh God. That is going to be interesting. But you guys, this was a really, really good episode. Thoroughly, it's a great episode. They keep doing better week after week, and I didn't know what to expect coming into season 2, but season 2 so far is so I'm loving where we're going with the show. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Ashley, ooh, you guys, Ash is gonna be, like I just said a few minutes ago, Ashley is Janine and Jacob meshed together. I don't know how we gonna handle Ashley, Janine, and Jacob. Oh my God. But it was a great episode, you guys. I want you guys to tell me what you guys thought about the episode. Drop down in the comment section, subscribe to the channel, you guys, turn on your post notifications, share the video. Like the video, you guys, thumbs it up, share the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.